As you can see depicted in this particular side, we have a wet side and we have the dry side. And that transition from wet to dry or dry to wet takes a severe toll on the horse itself. Or if we are in constant wetness or if we're in constant dry conditions, then that's going to affect the foot itself. Okay? So what happens and when we have the excess moisture and this foot is actually sitting and having to live in that excess moisture, is that hoof capsule, the hoof wall, wants to soften. And when it wants to soften, a lot of times that hoof capsule is going to pancake. It wants to spread. A lot of times we can end up with some, actually end up with some cracking at that point in time. But one of the most common things that we're going to see is that we're going to have some stretching that's actually going to take place. It's a little bit hard to see in this particular foot, but we're going to have some stretching and flaring that's going to take place here in the white line area itself. And of course, anytime we have that opening or the stretching there or that void, then that allows debris. It allows bacteria to get in and underneath the hoof wall itself, and that becomes a prime location for bacteria to take hold, to set up shop, to create that abscess, and that abscess then has to track up and exit, in most cases, out that coronary band there itself. So wet conditions is very detrimental. Wet conditions is very conducive to creating an abscess itself. Now, on the other hand, when we have dry conditions, the opposite takes place. In place of flaring out or pancaking, the hoof capsule wants to contract. And it will contract to the point where that hoof capsule becomes very susceptible to cracking and chipping. And these cracks become an entry point, once again, for what we don't want inside the hoof capsule, and that's bacteria.
Absolutely.
Okay? So wet conditions, dry conditions, and that transition will go a long way in creating a hoof abscess at that point in time.